Ever stood in front of your fridge in the morning, egg in hand, wondering, maybe I shouldn't? All that cholesterol. This thought has haunted millions for decades. But what if I told you that demonizing eggs was one of the biggest dietary blunders of the 20th century? Today, we're going to break down why eggs for breakfast aren't just delicious, but genuinely good for you. Brace yourselves, because some facts about cholesterol might seriously surprise you. Let's rewind a bit. Around the mid-20th century, scientists discovered a link between high blood cholesterol levels and heart disease. The logic seemed simple. If food contained cholesterol, it would enter your bloodstream and clog your arteries. Eggs, especially the yolks, are rich in cholesterol, and just like that, they landed on the blacklist, becoming the primary bogeyman for anyone concerned about their heart health. This idea became so deeply ingrained that many of us still eye an omelet with suspicion. But science, thankfully, didn't stop evolving. Let's kick things off by answering a fundamental question. What exactly is cholesterol? Most of us hear that word and immediately picture something negative. Clogged arteries, heart disease, restrictive diets. But that's just one side of the coin, a very distorted view. In reality, cholesterol is neither a poison nor an enemy. It's a vital, absolutely essential substance for our bodies. Imagine your body as a vast, complex metropolis, and cholesterol? It's one of its key builders and engineers. It's a crucial component of the membrane, the outer shell, of virtually every single cell in our body. It makes them strong, yet flexible. Without cholesterol, our cells simply couldn't exist. But that's not all. Cholesterol is also the raw material for producing essential hormones, including sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen. It's essential for synthesizing vitamin D, which is crucial for strong bones and a healthy immune system, and it helps the liver produce bile acids, without which we couldn't properly digest fats. So, as you can see, cholesterol isn't a villain. It's an indispensable player in all key processes within our bodies. And here's the first big surprise. Where does all this cholesterol come from? You might assume it comes exclusively from the fatty foods we eat. But in reality, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The vast majority of cholesterol, roughly 80%, is actually produced inside our own bodies. And the main producer, your liver. Think of it as a sophisticated biochemical factory, operating 24/7, precisely manufacturing just the right amount of cholesterol your body needs for its daily functions. Only the remaining 20% comes from our diet. This fact is crucial for understanding our entire topic. Our body itself controls cholesterol production. It's not a random process at all, but a complex and finely tuned system. All right, now let's dive into one of the most popular concepts surrounding cholesterol. Its division into bad and good. You've likely heard the terms LDL and HDL, but here's the crucial point. Cholesterol itself is always the same molecule. The real difference lies in its transport system. Imagine lipoproteins. These are specialized protein carriers, much like tiny ships, that transport cholesterol through our bloodstream. Cholesterol, being a fat, doesn't dissolve in water on its own. So, bad cholesterol, or LDL, can be thought of as a delivery service. Its primary role is to carry cholesterol from the liver to all the body cells. The problem arises when these couriers become too numerous and the cells no longer need additional packages. When this happens, excess cholesterol can start to accumulate on artery walls, forming those familiar plaques. On the other hand, good cholesterol, or HDL, acts like a cleanup crew. These guys work in the opposite direction. They gather excess cholesterol from the arteries and cells and transport it back to the liver for reprocessing. Essentially, they help clear our arteries. So what's truly important isn't just your total cholesterol level, but rather maintaining the right balance between these delivery vehicles and cleanup crews. So, does the cholesterol we consume actually impact our blood cholesterol levels? This brings us to the core question that fueled the myth about eggs being bad for us. For most people, the answer is virtually no. As I've mentioned before, our body is an incredibly intelligent, self-regulating system. It constantly strives for balance, a state known as homeostasis. When you consume something rich in cholesterol, like an egg yolk, your brain receives a signal. It tells your liver, hey, we're getting plenty from external sources, so you can ease up a bit and dial down your own production. And the liver does indeed produce less cholesterol. Conversely, if you're on a strict low cholesterol or cholesterol-free diet, your liver gets the signal to ramp up its efforts and produce more to compensate for the lack of this vital substance. So, in a healthy individual, the body naturally maintains a stable blood cholesterol level, regardless of whether you had eggs or oatmeal for breakfast today. So, what really drives up that bad cholesterol if eggs aren't the culprit? The true offenders are saturated fats, and even worse, trans fats, and, perhaps surprisingly, an excess of sugar and simple carbohydrates. Saturated fats, which are abundant in things like fatty meats, sausages, and butter, can prompt your liver to produce more cholesterol. But the absolute worst offenders are trans fats. These are artificially created, broken fats that you can find in margarine, fast food, baked goods, and many other processed products. They not only drastically raise your bad cholesterol, but also simultaneously lower your good cholesterol. It's a double whammy for your blood vessels. And sugar. When you eat a lot of sweets or refined carbs, your liver is forced to convert this excess into fat. This process, as a side effect, triggers an increased production of bad cholesterol. So the real enemy of your heart isn't an omelette, but rather a donut, bacon, and a sugary soda. Alright, let's circle back to eggs. When we talk about them, we often get fixated solely on cholesterol, completely overlooking all the other incredible benefits. Imagine for a moment breaking an egg down into its core components. What do we actually get from eating just one? It's so much more than merely cholesterol and fat. It's a genuine nutritional powerhouse. An egg can be thought of as nature's perfect capsule, containing everything necessary for new life to begin and flourish. And if it's got all that, imagine the immense value it holds for our bodies. So when we choose to avoid eggs, especially the yolk, purely out of cholesterol fears, we're essentially throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're depriving ourselves of a whole array of unique and beneficial compounds that are incredibly hard to obtain in such quality and quantity from other foods. Let's take a closer look at these hidden treasures. First off, let's talk protein. Egg protein, specifically, is considered the gold standard. That's because it contains all 9 essential amino acids in the ideal balance for our bodies. A single large egg delivers around 6 to 7 grams of high-quality protein, which our bodies absorb almost completely, nearly 100%. So what does that mean for us? Protein is essentially the building block for our entire body. Think muscles, skin, and hair. But what's really crucial, especially when it comes to breakfast, is that protein provides a lasting feeling of fullness. Have scrambled eggs or a couple of hard-boiled eggs for breakfast, and you'll stay satisfied much longer than if you had a bowl of sugary cereal or a white bread sandwich. This sustained fullness helps you control your appetite throughout the day, keeps those unhealthy snack cravings at bay, and ultimately supports a healthy weight. So all in all, eggs are an excellent tool for managing hunger. Secondly, the humble egg yolk is a veritable powerhouse of vitamins and minerals. Many of us tend to think of the yolk as just a fatty, cholesterol-rich component, but in reality, it's the most nutrient-dense part of the egg. It's precisely there that you'll find fat-soluble vitamin D, crucial for strong bones and a robust immune system. Vitamin D deficiency is a widespread problem, particularly in areas with limited sun exposure. The yolk also boasts an abundance of B vitamins, especially B12, which is essential for healthy nerve function and red blood cell production. And it contains vitamin A, vital for good vision. Beyond that, egg yolks are rich in selenium, a powerful antioxidant, and iodine, both critical for proper thyroid function. By discarding the yolk, you're essentially throwing away a wealth of natural health benefits. But that's not all. Egg yolks also pack a powerful punch with choline. You might not hear about this nutrient very often, but its importance is truly hard to overstate. Think of choline as high-octane fuel for your brain. It's a precursor to acetylcholine, one of the most vital neurotransmitters responsible for memory, focus, and our ability to learn. Getting enough choline in your diet helps maintain strong cognitive function and protects the brain from age-related decline. Beyond its brain benefits, choline plays a key role in liver health, helping to transport fats and prevent their harmful accumulation. And guess what? Egg yolk is one of the richest and most accessible sources of choline out there. Unfortunately, most people aren't getting nearly enough of it from their everyday diet. So, those eggs for breakfast aren't just about satisfying hunger, they're providing crucial, real support for your brain. But what about the research that sparked this whole myth? After all, the fear of eggs didn't just appear out of nowhere. Many of those early studies linking cholesterol intake to heart disease were conducted in the mid-20th century and, frankly, had significant flaws by today's scientific standards. For instance, they often failed to account for other lifestyle factors of the participants. People who ate a lot of eggs might also have been heavy smokers, consumed a lot of processed meats, and led largely sedentary lives. Researchers simply singled out one product, the humble egg, and labelled it the culprit, without analysing the whole picture. What's more, some experiments were conducted on animals like rabbits, which are herbivores. Their digestive systems are simply not designed to process cholesterol, so the results of those studies couldn't be directly applied to humans. It was a scientific error that unfortunately took root in the public consciousness for decades. Fortunately, science doesn't stand still. Over the past few decades, hundreds of new, far more extensive and accurate studies have been conducted, involving tens and even hundreds of thousands of participants. So what did these studies reveal? The vast majority of modern scientific research finds no direct link between consuming 1 or 2 eggs a day and an increased risk of heart disease or strokes in healthy individuals. Scientists have analysed diet, lifestyle, and genetics, concluding that for most of us, eggs are a safe and nutritious food. Authoritative organisations like the American Heart Association have revised their recommendations, removing strict dietary cholesterol limits. The scientific community has officially acknowledged that the demonisation of eggs was a mistake. To be fair, it's important to mention that there's a small group of people known as hyper-responders. Their genetics are wired in such a way that their blood cholesterol levels can indeed noticeably increase in response to dietary cholesterol. However, these individuals, by various estimates, make up no more than 20–25% of the total population. This means they are more the exception than the rule. Furthermore, even in these hyper-responders, both good and bad cholesterol typically rise proportionally, meaning the overall risk to heart health may not actually increase. Special caution is advised for individuals with already diagnosed type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. They should consult their doctor regarding their individual recommended intake of eggs. But for the vast majority of healthy individuals, this isn't a concern. It's far more important how you prepare your eggs than simply whether you eat them. Even the healthiest ingredients can be completely undermined if not prepared correctly. Let's compare 2 very different scenarios. On one hand, imagine a 3-egg fried breakfast, the eggs practically swimming in a generous amount of butter or oil, often served with fatty, greasy bacon and sausages. This kind of breakfast is loaded with saturated fats and calories, definitely not doing your blood vessels any favours. On the other hand, you have 2 eggs, hard-boiled or soft-boiled, or an omelet prepared by steaming, or on a non-stick pan with just a touch of oil. These are 2 entirely different dishes in terms of their impact on your health. The healthiest methods: boiling, poaching, or baking. These methods don't introduce any unnecessary fats or calories. Equally crucial, of course, is what you pair your eggs with. Eggs aren't a standalone dish in a vacuum. They're part of your overall diet. Eggs can be the star of a super healthy breakfast or contribute to a less than ideal one. Picture this ideal plate: An omelet or fried eggs, accompanied by fresh vegetables, leafy greens, a slice of avocado packed with healthy fats, and a piece of whole grain toast. This kind of breakfast is balanced, nutritious, and will keep you energized for hours. Now consider a different scenario. The same fried eggs, but served with a side of greasy fried potatoes, white bread generously slathered with margarine, all washed down with a sugary coffee loaded with cream. Can you feel the difference? It's not the eggs themselves, but the company they keep. It's the overall meal, the entire context, that determines whether your breakfast is a healthy choice or a detriment to your well-being. Another significant advantage of a breakfast rich in protein and healthy fats like eggs is its positive impact on your blood sugar levels. When you start your day with quick digesting carbohydrates such as sugary cereals, pastries, or white bread, your blood glucose levels rapidly spike. In response, your pancreas releases a large dose of insulin to bring that sugar under control. Consequently, your blood sugar levels plummet just as quickly, leaving you feeling hungry, tired, and craving sweets within a mere hour or two. Eggs, on the other hand, are digested slowly, thanks to their rich protein and healthy fat content. They provide a smooth, sustained energy release without those drastic sugar spikes. This helps you control your appetite, maintain focus, and avoid those energy slumps throughout the entire day. Beyond blood sugar control, a protein-rich breakfast, and eggs are one of the best options, helps maintain muscle mass. This becomes especially important as we age. After the age of 30 to 35, we gradually start to lose muscle tissue, a process known as sarcopenia. Muscle loss slows down metabolism, makes us weaker, and increases the risk of injuries. To combat this, it's essential to regularly consume enough protein, and it's particularly important to distribute it evenly throughout the day, starting with breakfast. A morning protein intake kickstarts muscle protein synthesis and helps maintain strength and tone. So, eggs for breakfast aren't just food, they're an investment in your physical fitness and active longevity. And here's another interesting, and for many, surprising fact. Some modern research suggests that regularly eating eggs might not just be harmless, but could actually improve your cholesterol profile. How is this possible? It turns out eggs can actually help increase the size of those bad LDL cholesterol particles. And that's a very good thing. Smaller, denser LDL particles are far more dangerous as they can more easily penetrate artery walls and trigger inflammation. But larger, fluffy particles are considered much less harmful. What's more, studies have also shown that eating eggs can raise your levels of good HDL cholesterol, the very clean-up crew that helps clear out our arteries. So eggs can actually help shift your cholesterol balance towards a healthier profile. Of course, this isn't to say eggs are a magic cure for atherosclerosis, but it does reinforce the idea that they're certainly not the enemy for our vascular health that they were once thought to be. So, what's the takeaway here? Eggs aren't the ticking cholesterol time bomb we were led to believe for decades. Instead, they're more like a natural multivitamin complex, perfectly packaged by nature. They're a source of complete protein, healthy fats, crucial vitamins like D and B12, and the rare, brain-essential nutrient, choline. Nature designed the egg as a perfect food, capable of fostering new life. It would be foolish not to leverage this powerhouse of nutrition for our own health. Of course, like any food, moderation and common sense are key, but demonizing eggs and even worse, discarding their most valuable component, the yolk, is a major dietary misstep based on outdated and debunked scientific data. To wrap up this whole discussion, it's safe to say science has completely vindicated eggs. They are officially back from their long dietary exile, reclaiming their rightful place among healthy and beneficial foods. Leading health organizations, dietetic associations, and top scientists worldwide have all re-evaluated their positions. Today, the emphasis in preventing cardiovascular disease has clearly shifted. Less focus on dietary cholesterol, and more on managing trans fats, sugar intake, and the overall balance of your diet. Eggs are now, once again, recognised as a valuable component of a healthy eating plan. So, the next time you're standing by the fridge, feel free to grab an egg and whip up your favourite breakfast, knowing you're making a smart, healthy choice for your body. And now we come to the pivotal moment in this story. For decades, we've been fearing the wrong enemy. While all attention was fixated on the cholesterol in eggs, the true culprits behind heart and blood vessel problems were quietly infiltrating our diets in massive amounts. Their names: sugar, processed carbohydrates, and industrial trans fats. These are the true triggers of chronic inflammation, forcing the liver to churn out excess bad cholesterol and inflicting real damage on our arteries and veins. Eggs were simply a convenient scapegoat. We focused on one component for so long that we completely missed the bigger picture. And this realization, it's a game changer in nutritional science. So, your morning omelet is absolutely not a crime. It's an excellent, nutritious, and beneficial way to start your day. What truly matters is the overall balance of your diet and a healthy lifestyle. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you learned something new and useful today, and now feel more confident enjoying your eggs for breakfast, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more myth-busting content. Now, a question for you. What do you typically eat for breakfast? And will this video change your morning routine? Let me know in the comments below. I'd truly love to hear your thoughts.